Welcome to our channel. This is more than just a story. It is a profound journey. It is a journey that will take you through pain, pressure, fear, fame, failure, and ultimate strength. This narrative also offers an excellent opportunity to enhance your English language skills. You will not merely listen to a biography. You will feel it, understand it, and grow from it, word by word. If you are eager to improve your English while discovering the most emotional, powerful, and life-changing stories, subscribe now. You have certainly found the right place. Let us now begin the authentic story of a boy who grew into a global icon. However, before achieving greatness, he first had to confront a significant enemy within his own household. This is part 1, The Boy Who Lived in Fear. We begin with Willard Carroll Smith, Jr., born on September 25, 1968. His birthplace was West Philadelphia, in the state of Pennsylvania. Most people recognize him as Will Smith, known affectionately as the Fresh Prince, a Hollywood legend. He is an Oscar winner, the man who consistently made us laugh, cry, and inspired us to dream. Yet, concealed behind that famous smile was a deeply hidden truth he never wished for the world to discover. Will spent his formative years in a comfortable middle-class neighborhood, neither exceptionally wealthy nor impoverished. His father, Willard Sr., was a military man, strict, highly disciplined, and often intense in his demeanor. His mother, Caroline, worked for the school board. She was an intelligent, kind, yet remarkably quiet woman. From an external perspective, their family appeared quite normal and uneventful to observers. Internally, however, their home was often filled with an unsettling silence, rigid rules, and a pervasive sense of fear. In his autobiographical book, Will later recounted a pivotal memory from his childhood. "When I was 9 years old, I watched my father strike my mother with such force that she fell down." He continued, "That profound moment instantly changed absolutely everything within me. That singular moment did not merely break my heart, it tragically broke my voice as well." From that significant day forward, young Will made a profound and lasting decision. "I will ensure that everyone around me laughs so they never have to experience the fear that I feel." This deeply personal vow marked the true beginning of his lifelong performance, not on a public stage. Instead, his stage was his own home. He quickly became the family entertainer, the funny one, the loud one. Yet, deep down, he remained a frightened little boy who consistently struggled to feel truly safe. Even from a very young age, Will possessed an extraordinary, almost superhuman ability. He could accurately read a room, understanding the emotional atmosphere within mere seconds. If his father returned home visibly angry, Will instinctively knew to crack a well-timed joke. If his mother appeared sad or distressed, he would spontaneously dance or sing to lift her spirits. If his friends felt down or discouraged, he would transform himself into an amusing cartoon character. However, these acts were far more than simple fun or mere amusement for him. For Will, these elaborate performances were, in essence, a critical mechanism for his own survival. He quickly came to understand a powerful lesson. Entertainment provided a form of control. If he succeeded in making people laugh, He believed they would not engage in conflict. If he could make others genuinely love him, he thought they would never abandon him. Nevertheless, this remarkable superpower carried with it a profound and deeply hidden curse. He found himself incapable of ever truly showing his authentic feelings to anyone in his life. By the age of 12, Will developed an intense and enduring love for the world of hip-hop music. Yet, even then, he distinctly differed from many of his contemporaries in the rap scene. While other rappers often rhymed about themes of violence, hatred, and deep-seated pain, Will, in contrast, rapped about innocent fun, playful humor, girls, and experiences at school. Furthermore, he steadfastly refused to use any profanity in his music. He simply did not want his grandmother to hear him swear. People often ridiculed him, claiming he was not real or authentic enough for the genre. However, Will remained unfazed by their criticism. He was not striving to appear tough or hard. His genuine aspiration was simply to be happy and to spread joy through his unique style. At 16, he encountered a highly talented DJ named Jeff, a meeting that would change his life. Together, they formed an iconic duo, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Their innovative music truly exploded in popularity during the year 1989. They notably won the very first Grammy Award ever presented for rap music. Will was merely 20 years old at this astonishing pinnacle of early success. He had journeyed from experiencing fear in his living room to winning music's most prestigious award. Yet, despite this monumental achievement, he was, in reality, only just getting started on his path. Success arrived swiftly, almost overnight. Fame, however, embraced him even more rapidly. But Will was still a young man, largely unprepared, with no financial education, no dedicated team, and insufficient guidance. He lavishly purchased cars, motorcycles, designer clothes, extravagant parties, and even more parties. Naively, he believed the incoming money would simply never cease flowing. Soon enough, the phone calls ceased ringing, and his album sales dramatically plummeted. Then, inevitably, the IRS arrived at his door with a chilling message. You owe $2.8 million in taxes. Will Smith found himself at the tender age of 25, completely and utterly broke. His home was lost, his beloved cars repossessed, his money vanished, and his once stellar reputation seemingly gone. He ended up living at his girlfriend's house, attempting to hide from the harsh realities of the world. He genuinely believed his flourishing career was definitively over, that he was utterly finished. However, it is precisely at this profound low point that his true, most compelling story genuinely begins. One fateful day, a friend approached him with an intriguing piece of news and advice. They are currently auditioning for a new sitcom titled The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You really should try out. Will responded, almost dismissively, I am certainly not an actor. That is not my profession. His friend wisely retorted, well, you were not a rapper either, until you eventually became one. Realizing he truly had nothing left to lose, Will decided to take the chance. So he went, he performed his audition, and just like that, he astonishingly secured the coveted role. This unexpected and pivotal role, in essence, profoundly saved his life from potential ruin. In 1990, the iconic television series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air first premiered to audiences. Suddenly, millions of eager people across the nation were watching him intently. They were laughing heartily at his clever jokes, dancing enthusiastically to his catchy theme song. They were also quoting his memorable lines. But what they did not know remained hidden. Behind every single joke was still a vulnerable little boy who deeply felt he did not deserve love. And behind every boisterous laugh was a man plagued by the thought, if I stop being perfect, everyone will surely abandon me. There is one particularly memorable episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that stands out. It is the one where Will's estranged father makes a brief return, only to leave again. In that intensely emotional scene, Will heartbreakingly asks, "How come he don't want me, man?" What most viewers remain unaware of is the profound reality behind that performance. Will was not merely acting in that moment. He genuinely broke down into raw emotion. The camera continued to roll because, for the very first time, his public smile cracked wide open. The protective mask he wore finally slipped away, and the deeply hidden boy inside him bravely spoke. Following the tremendous success of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith's name became universally recognized. He was no longer simply a humorous television personality. He was evolving into something far greater. At this crucial juncture, he made a resolute and ambitious decision for his future. I want to become the biggest, most celebrated movie star in the entire world, he declared. Crucially, he did not utter this aspiration as a mere dream or a fleeting wish. Instead, he articulated it with the unwavering conviction and determination of a clear mission. Will then began to meticulously study box office numbers, analyze movie scripts, and examine audience trends. He aimed to understand which movies genuinely captivated people and which actors commanded the highest earnings. He also sought to discover what types of stories truly resonated with and touched the human heart. He grew obsessed, not just with the craft of acting itself, but with the exhilarating pursuit of winning. And remarkably, his intense focus and dedication yielded extraordinary results and paid off. In just a few short years, Will Smith graced us with a string of unforgettable films. These included Bad Boys in 1995, a dynamic combination of action and comedy that became a global hit. Next came Independence Day in 1996, a groundbreaking science fiction blockbuster. Then Men in Black in 1997, where he portrayed one of the coolest and most iconic roles ever seen. He delivered an Oscar-nominated performance in Ali in 2001, showcasing his dramatic range. Other notable films followed, such as I, Robot, Hitch, I Am Legend, and Enemy of the State. And then, in 2006, he profoundly moved audiences with a film that broke everyone's heart. That emotionally powerful movie was, of course, The Pursuit of Happiness, based on a true story. In the film, he portrayed Chris Gardner, a determined yet homeless father raising a young boy. The deeply poignant narrative resonated with audiences and brought millions to tears worldwide. This was because Will was not simply performing a role, he was embodying a deep personal truth. He was that very boy from his past, striving earnestly to make his own father proud of him. He was the one desperately trying to feel safe, to prove his own worth, all in the tireless pursuit of happiness. In one particularly memorable scene from The Pursuit of Happiness, Will speaks directly to his son. He powerfully states, "Don't ever let somebody tell you that you cannot do something, not even me." That profound and deeply personal line was not merely directed at his character on screen. Instead, he was speaking directly to his authentic self, to his own inner being. He spoke to that scared 9-year-old boy still residing inside, perpetually afraid of disappointing his father. At this pinnacle, Will Smith had truly become the most bankable and successful movie star globally. He possessed immense wealth, earned deep respect, wielded considerable power, had millions of adoring fans, and enjoyed widespread fame. Yet, despite all this external success, he continued to feel profoundly broken on the inside. Why was this the case? Because the one thing he desired above all else remained elusive: his father's unconditional love. His father, the very man who had instilled in him a resilient sense of strength, was also the individual who had made him afraid to cry. Will later confessed, "I never truly forgave him until the very day he was dying." Many years subsequent to these events, his father was diagnosed with a terminal illness, cancer. Medical professionals informed the family that he had approximately 6 weeks left to live. Will remained steadfastly by his father's bedside. He fed him, conversed with him, and tenderly held his hand. Slowly, subtly, and profoundly, something transformative began to shift within Will himself. Will was no longer consumed by fear. He gazed at the man who had once terrified him. He then uttered the words, "I forgive you," a moment of immense liberation for both. In that deeply emotional and pivotal moment, the frightened little boy inside him finally found the release he needed. This profound realization was not about material wealth, nor was it about box office movies. It wasn't even about achieving the status of being #1 in the world. Ultimately, it was about finding profound inner peace and true reconciliation. In his private life, behind the public facade, Will was married to Jada Pinkett Smith. Together, they had 2 children, Jaden and Willow, both of whom later became famous in their own right. However, their marriage, despite outward appearances, was far from perfect or idyllic. They experienced frequent arguments, took periods of separation, and faced numerous public rumors. There were also many private tears. Will was relentlessly trying to be the perfect father. He also strived to be the perfect husband and, indeed, the perfect man in every aspect. In this relentless pursuit of external perfection, he inadvertently forgot to genuinely be himself. He candidly wrote in his memoirs, "I was constantly trying to fix everything around me." Yet, he confessed, "I tragically neglected to ever truly fix myself during that time." He continued to smile charmingly in interviews, to tell jokes, and to inspire millions worldwide. But in the privacy of his own space, he would often break down completely and weep. He frequently asked himself, with deep anguish, "Why am I still not enough?" He possessed everything the world could possibly dream of in terms of material success. However, he lacked the profound inner peace and contentment that no amount of money can ever purchase. In the year 2022, Will Smith attended the prestigious Academy Award ceremony, the Oscars. He was nominated for his compelling performance as the father of Venus and Serena Williams in the film King Richard. During the ceremony, comedian Chris Rock made a joke directed at Will's wife, Jada. Initially, Will reacted by laughing, seemingly unbothered by the remark. Then, quite suddenly, something profound and uncontrollable snapped deep inside him. He then deliberately walked onto the stage and physically slapped Chris Rock. This shocking act occurred openly in front of the entire world, leaving everyone speechless. An eerie silence descended, followed by collective shock and a profound sense of shame. People were utterly dumbfounded and did not know what to say or how to react. Many questioned, could this truly be the same Will Smith we have always known and loved? That infamous slap was not merely about a single ill-conceived joke. Its roots ran much deeper. It emerged from years of suppressed fear, years of elaborate pretending, and years of relentlessly striving for perfection. It stemmed from years of being unable to articulate his true emotions and deepest feelings. In a profound sense, it was a desperate, if misguided, cry for help from within him. Simultaneously, however, it also represented a very public and dramatic fall from grace. Will Smith had seemingly possessed everything, yet lost his carefully crafted public image in one swift second. Now the world collectively pondered, who is he really? Is he a good man, a bad man, or merely a broken man? Or perhaps, they wondered, is he simply and profoundly human, like all of us? This brings us to part 2, the slap that shook the world and broke the mask forever. And indeed, the entire world watched on, absolutely stunned and deeply affected by the event. This was Will Smith, the celebrated figure the world had come to know and love so dearly. He was widely seen as a role model, the charming, funny, and seemingly peaceful guy everyone admired. Yet, in that moment, he appeared angry, completely out of control, and almost unrecognizable. Just minutes after the shocking incident, Will was announced as the winner of the Best Actor Oscar. He had won for his incredible performance in King Richard. He cried openly on stage during his acceptance speech. "Love makes you do crazy things," he famously stated, attempting to explain his actions. But even as he tightly gripped that gleaming golden trophy, he experienced no sense of triumph. Instead, he felt only an overwhelming and profound sense of personal shame. That night, consumed by turmoil, Will Smith found himself unable to sleep at all. He sat alone, grappling with profound questions that would ultimately reshape his entire life forever. While the slap undoubtedly shocked the entire world, Will later clarified its true origin. He explained that the action did not simply stem from that immediate moment or the joke. Instead, he admitted, it came from a long history of not being able to truly express myself. He realized he was not actually angry at Chris Rock in that specific instance. Rather, his anger was directed inward, at himself, at his past, at his deep-seated fear, his enforced silence, and his enduring pain. He candidly stated, "I was desperately trying to protect the constructed image of a perfect man." However, he confessed, that idealized man never genuinely existed in the first place. The very next day, Will courageously posted a public apology on his social media. He did not attempt to shift blame onto anyone else, nor did he try to defend his actions. He plainly admitted, "I was wrong. I am deeply embarrassed by my behavior. Furthermore," he added, "my actions do not reflect the man I truly aspire to be." He offered his sincere apologies to Chris Rock, to the Academy, to the global audience. He extended his apology to his loyal fans, and, significantly, he apologized to himself. Following that difficult day, Will effectively disappeared from the public eye for a period. There were no interviews, no red carpet appearances, no new movies, and no public noise. There was simply a profound silence. He remained at home, in introspection. He took a long, hard look at the entirety of his life, examining every facet. He confronted his long-suppressed pain directly and openly for the first time. He sat with his complex emotions, many of which he had carefully hidden for over 40 years. For the first time in memory, he made no effort to be funny or to appear perfect. He simply and profoundly tried to be his genuine, authentic self in that quiet space. In his own poignant words, he later articulated his profound realization and experience. "The hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life is to truly forgive myself. I always mistakenly thought that love was something earned through performance. Now, however, I understand that love is, in fact, synonymous with truth. I have never felt more utterly broken and, simultaneously, never felt more profoundly free." He then embarked on a path of self-discovery, beginning to practice meditation regularly. He dedicated significant, quality time to being present with his beloved family members. He sought wisdom from spiritual leaders, engaging in deep conversations about life and purpose. He read extensively, wrote in a journal, allowed himself to cry, and eventually he bravely spoke his truth. He stated, I came to the powerful realization that my entire life had been a meticulously crafted performance. The constant smile, the effortless charm, the relentless pursuit of perfection, it was all part of it. I was desperately trying to make people love me, primarily because I did not truly love myself. This was not merely a superficial celebrity crisis. It was, in essence, a profound crisis of the soul. Will Smith revealed something profoundly rare and deeply insightful to the entire world. He demonstrated that one can possess immense wealth and yet still feel utterly worthless inside. One can achieve widespread fame and recognition, yet still feel completely unseen as a person. You can be loved and admired by millions, yet still harbor a deep self-hatred for yourself. Most importantly, he showed that you can make a significant public mistake and still return stronger. If you are truly human, you will inevitably fall, stumble, and make errors in life. However, if you possess genuine bravery, you will always find the strength to stand up again. He began the arduous process of forgiving himself for his actions and past. Yet, he understood that true forgiveness is rarely, if ever, truly complete on its own. It often requires facing the individual who knows your deepest, darkest parts of self. And crucially, that person must still choose to stay and accept you anyway, despite everything. For Will, that singular, pivotal person was his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. She was not only his partner, but also, in many ways, his most profound mirror. Their relationship, he realized, was certainly not the flawless Hollywood love story one might imagine. Instead, it was a relationship that was complicated, often messy, frequently painful, yet ultimately honest. Will first met Jada in the 1990s, at a time when he was still married to his first wife, Cherie Zampino. He and Cherie had a son together, named Trey, who was an important part of his life. However, even then, Will's heart was already undeniably drifting and drawn toward Jada. After his divorce from Cherie, he and Jada quickly became romantically involved. Outwardly, they appeared to be the quintessential perfect couple, strong, wealthy, famous, and powerful. They soon married and welcomed 2 children into their lives, Jaden and Willow. But from the very outset of their union, something subtly yet profoundly felt amiss. Will harbored a desire for a traditional family structure and a conventional marriage. Jada, conversely, yearned for personal freedom and a more unconventional path. Will instinctively wanted to protect her in every conceivable way, out of love. Jada, however, prioritized protecting her own individual self and autonomy above all else. They undeniably loved each other deeply, yet they did not always express that love in the same manner. For Jada's momentous 40th birthday, Will dedicated 3 entire years to meticulously planning a grand surprise. He hired numerous individuals, commissioned a special documentary, and extended invitations to many celebrities. It was intended to be the most magical and unforgettable birthday celebration she had ever experienced. But when the much-anticipated big day finally arrived, Jada did not smile or show joy. She did not feel like celebrating. Instead, she felt as though she was performing on a stage again. After the extravagant event concluded, she candidly told Will, "This celebration was not truly for me. It was, in actual fact, primarily for you," she explained, revealing a painful truth. Those words profoundly shattered him, as he felt he had poured his entire heart into the gesture. Meanwhile, Jada felt an overwhelming sense of being controlled and managed by the elaborate plans. That very night, a significant break occurred in their marriage, changing its trajectory forever. Will later reflected, "I retired that day from constantly trying to make other people happy." Following that incident, a palpable coldness settled between them, emotionally speaking. They did not pursue a divorce, nor did they engage in loud, public arguments or physical separation. They simply drifted apart, silently and incrementally, within their shared life. For several years, Will and Jada were no longer romantic partners, nor were they deeply connected. There were even periods when they were not speaking to each other at all. Nevertheless, they continued to live under the same roof, committed to figuring themselves out. They consciously gave each other the necessary space for individual introspection and growth. And then, unexpectedly, something profoundly significant occurred in their journey. In 2020, Jada hosted an episode of her popular show, Red Table Talk. Across the table from her, notably, sat Will, providing a rare glimpse into their dynamic. She then openly admitted something that the entire world had been quietly whispering about. During a period of separation in their marriage, she had engaged in a relationship with a younger man. His name was August Alsina. Jada chose not to label it an affair in her description. Instead, she famously referred to it as an entanglement, a term that instantly went viral. Upon this revelation, the world's reaction was explosive, filled with memes, hatred, mockery, and shame. Will sat opposite her, his eyes visibly red, remaining silent, visibly trying to compose himself and breathe. Crucially, however, he did not abandon her, nor did he raise his voice in anger. He simply listened intently to her truth, and when the conversation concluded, he famously responded, "We ride together, we die together, bad marriage for life." This statement was at once a joke, a raw truth, and a poignant tragedy all combined. Will later candidly admitted, "Our marriage itself had become a continuous performance." He elaborated, "I was playing a specific role, and Jada, too, was playing a role. In essence," he concluded, "we were both constantly acting within our own relationship." He, Will, fundamentally believed that love demanded profound sacrifice and compromise. She, Jada, however, held a conviction that love above all else required absolute truth and authenticity. They were both earnestly attempting to build something beautiful and enduring together. Yet, they were each utilizing vastly different blueprints for its construction and foundation. This fundamental disagreement, he reflected, was precisely why their marital house continuously crumbled. In the aftermath of the shocking Oscar slap, many speculated about his motivations. Some suggested he acted for Jada's sake, that she had somehow compelled him to do it. They believed he was solely protecting her honor, but Will firmly clarified his position. "No," he asserted, "Jada did not ask me to do anything at all in that situation. That particular moment was entirely mine," he explained. "That profound pain was also mine alone." Jada, for her part, did not physically stop him, but, crucially, she did not overtly push him either. It was truly his own deeply personal moment, a critical breaking point for him. He later reflected, "I had become so accustomed to holding absolutely everything inside. Consequently, when all that pent-up emotion finally exploded," he continued, "it did so in the wrong place. It happened at the absolute wrong time, and most dramatically, in front of the entire world. After experiencing everything, the immense fame, the complexities of family life, and the public fall, Will and Jada ultimately chose to embrace something profoundly simple, radical honesty. They ceased their attempts to fix one another, recognizing the futility of such efforts. They also abandoned their efforts to protect a carefully constructed public image. Instead, they began courageously telling their truth to each other, even when it caused pain. Jada articulated their new understanding, stating, "We are truly partners, not prisoners to each other." Will echoed this sentiment, adding, "We are diligently learning how to love without needing control." Their journey is not one of perfection, nor is it based on falsehoods or pretense. Their story is far from over. They are actively trying, with genuine effort. They are striving to heal, to become whole individuals, and to navigate being human together. He was no longer relentlessly chasing after gleaming trophies or record-breaking box office numbers. He was not pursuing prestigious awards, overwhelming applause, or superficial social media likes anymore. This shift occurred because after the slap, after the widespread public shame, and after weathering the intense storms within his marriage, Will Smith found something new. He discovered a profound state he had never truly known before, the quiet power of silence. And within that newfound, profound silence, he uncovered something far more powerful than the entire world of Hollywood. He consciously stopped running away from challenging interviews, intrusive cameras, and the pressure of constant performance. He deliberately sat still. He deeply breathed, and he genuinely listened to his own inner thoughts. For the very first time in his life, he began to truly understand a crucial lesson. "My entire life," he reflected, "I mistakenly believed that success equated to love. However, I now comprehend that genuine love is not earned through tireless work or achievement. Instead," he realized, "it is freely received through vulnerability and authentic truth." He had dedicated countless years to performing for the approval and adoration of the world. Now, finally, he was diligently learning how to genuinely show up and be present for himself. He began to travel, not for glitzy premieres or glamorous red carpet events, but solely for inner peace. He visited remote, secluded places, seeking solitude and quiet reflection for his soul. He immersed himself in reading books that profoundly challenged his existing perspectives. He conversed with monks, spiritual healers, wise guides, and respected elders from various traditions. His purpose was not to solicit direct advice, but to learn the invaluable art of quiet listening. He sought to stop his constant talking, and instead to truly begin feeling his emotions deeply. He diligently journaled every single day, pouring out his innermost thoughts and feelings. Sometimes, his journal entries filled pages with raw, unvarnished pain and anguish. At other times, a single, powerful word sufficed, such as "enough," signifying acceptance. When he eventually spoke publicly once more, a noticeable change was evident in his demeanor. His voice had become noticeably slower, softer, and imbued with a newfound calmness. He was no longer trying to be funny or to captivate an audience with humor. He was not striving to win over critics or achieve any external victories. Instead, he was courageously trying to heal, openly and audibly, in front of the world. In one of his initial, deeply reflective interviews following the Oscar incident, he shared his perspective. He stated, "Hurting someone so publicly, in front of millions of watchful eyes, forces you to confront yourself. It makes you face yourself in a way that absolutely nothing else possibly can, he explained. But perhaps, he mused, I truly needed that experience, because the version of me existing before that night was already cracking. Will then began to profoundly reevaluate his relationship with his children, Jaden, Willow, and Trey. He honestly asked himself, am I truly the father they genuinely need, or merely the father I believed I should be? He consciously stopped subtly pushing them toward an unattainable ideal of perfection in their lives. Instead, he intentionally started listening, giving them his full, undivided attention and care. Willow once shared a powerful truth with him, stating, "Dad, I do not need you to fix my life for me. I just need you to truly see me for who I am," she revealed, a profound and simple request. That single sentence resonated with him more profoundly than any drama from an Oscar night. Because, for the very first time, he deeply realized a fundamental truth about fatherhood. Being a truly strong father does not necessarily mean being constantly in control of everything. Rather, it fundamentally means being genuinely present, emotionally available, and fully engaged. Eventually, Will cautiously stepped back into the world of making movies and storytelling. However, he returned as a fundamentally different person, changed by his experiences. He was no longer ravenously hungry for public attention or constant validation. He was no longer intensely obsessed with achieving the status of being number one. Instead, he now sought out stories that genuinely felt true to his evolving self. He desired to portray characters that could help others on their own healing journeys. For him, acting was no longer a deceptive mask to hide behind. It had transformed into a powerful, introspective mirror, reflecting his inner journey. He declared, with a newfound sense of purpose, "I no longer aspire to be the best actor in the world. My true desire," he revealed, "is to be the most loving and compassionate person I can possibly be." The world once perceived him as utterly perfect, an unblemished icon. Then, quite publicly, they witnessed him profoundly break under pressure. Now, however, people are beginning to see him as he truly is, a man becoming real. He is still actively learning, continuously growing, and humbly apologizing for his mistakes. He is still courageously asking himself difficult and challenging questions about his life. But this, he understands, is what genuine strength looks like in his current reality. Not a forced big smile, not boisterous confidence, and not the image of a superhero. Instead, it is simply a man who is bravely telling his authentic truth to the world. This brings us to part 3, the man who finally became himself. He no longer speaks merely to prove a point or to assert his dominance to others. He no longer smiles purely as a mechanism to conceal his inner turmoil or pain. He does not perform on any stage simply to earn love or acceptance from the public. Because now, Will Smith is not striving to embody a heroic figure for the world. He is simply and profoundly trying to live his life with genuine honesty and integrity. There was one singular, defining moment that irrevocably changed everything for him. He was sitting completely alone, in a quiet space, far from the public eye. There were no cameras, no publicists, no team, no adoring fans, just profound silence. He carefully opened his personal journal and inscribed a single, piercing sentence. "If I were to die tomorrow," he wrote, "who was I, truly, in my essence?" The answer that emerged was not a movie star, nor a Grammy winner, nor the Fresh Prince. The profound realization was this: I was a scared boy who eventually became a strong man. But, he acknowledged, I first had to lose absolutely everything to reach this understanding. In that moment, he grasped something simultaneously painful and incredibly freeing. I was endlessly chasing the love that I had never truly given to myself, he realized. All his life, the constant jokes, the remarkable success, the effortless charm, none of it was ultimately for the world. It was for that vulnerable 9-year-old boy inside him. The boy who witnessed his mother being struck and then vowed to constantly smile. He smiled so that no one around him would ever have to experience such deep pain again. But now, he no longer smiles as a protective shield or a deceptive facade. Instead, he smiles to genuinely reflect the inner peace and truth he has found. He has, in a profound sense, become the very light he once sought from external sources. This transformation occurred not because life suddenly became easier for him, but because he finally ceased running from the inherent darkness within himself and his past. He now understands that true success is quiet, a peaceful, internal state of being. He used to mistakenly believe that success was defined by noise, big numbers, immense fame, and grand shows. Now, however, he firmly believes that true success is synonymous with profound inner peace. It is the ability to sleep soundly at night without any lingering shame or guilt. It is the ability to laugh genuinely, without any need for pretense or acting. It is the ability to offer and receive love without the constant need for performance or conditions. He came to comprehend that genuine love is not a reward to be meticulously earned. For years, he had earnestly strived to earn love through his achievements and perfection. Now, he knows with certainty that those who truly love you will accept and love you as you are. This love is not contingent on you being perfect, nor on you being globally famous. It is not dependent on you never falling or making mistakes in your life's journey. Instead, true love blossoms when you bravely open up and show them your authentic soul. He also realized a profound truth. Pain, itself, is the necessary path to growth. Throughout his entire life, he had conscientiously attempted to avoid all forms of pain. Now, with newfound wisdom and clarity, he truly understands its purpose. Pain is not his enemy. Rather, pain serves as a powerful teacher and guide. Pain is the very doorway to deeper understanding. It is what truly transforms a boy into a man. Will Smith no longer actively cares about maintaining the image of being a legend. His utmost concern now is simply about being genuinely free in all aspects of his existence. Free to openly speak his mind, free to deeply feel his emotions, free to truly love, free to unreservedly cry, free to admit when he is wrong, and free to authentically be real. He once commanded the world's attention and adoration through his captivating performances. Now, he profoundly touches the world and its people by courageously telling his authentic truth. Here are some profound and invaluable lessons you can take away from his remarkable story. First, always remember that you are unequivocally not defined by your past experiences. Even if you have been deeply broken, even if you have made significant mistakes, you possess the inherent ability to fundamentally rewrite your own personal story. Second, you absolutely do not need to constantly impress the entire world around you. You simply need to genuinely love and accept the person staring back at you in the mirror. Third, your deepest and most painful wound might ultimately transform into your greatest power. However, this transformation can only occur if you bravely stop hiding it from yourself and others. Fourth, understand that the concept of perfect does not truly exist as an attainable reality. There is only the unwavering, liberating power of truth and authenticity in existence. Fifth, you possess the resilience to fall loudly, publicly, and even painfully. Yet, you can still courageously rise again from the ashes, stronger and more profound. But this time, you will rise as your truly authentic and real self, unburdened by pretense. He made us laugh with his humor. He moved us to tears with his dramatic depth. He made us dance to his infectious rhythms, and he inspired us to genuinely believe. But his most profound and greatest gift to us all was a powerful revelation. He courageously showed us what truly happens when the mask finally comes off completely. Not merely from his public face, but from the very fabric of his entire life itself. Now, he lives authentically, without the need for any mask, embracing his true self. This concludes the shared narrative of Will Smith's extraordinary journey thus far. However, it is also, in a deeper sense, the beginning of something far more significant. It is the story of a man who consciously ceased performing for the entire world. He did so in order that he might finally become his true self, found in the quiet solitude of silence. And perhaps, just perhaps, this remarkable example can inspire you to do precisely the same. Thank you sincerely for listening to this emotional, powerful, and truly unforgettable story of Will Smith. It is a journey spanning from his deepest childhood fears to achieving unparalleled global fame. A transformation from the relentless pursuit of perfection to the liberating embrace of truth. If this deeply personal journey resonated with your heart, then you already know what to do next. Now, go forth and live your own unique story, bravely and authentically. Not the version that strives for external perfection, but the one that is genuinely real. The world desperately needs to see and hear that authentic story from you. Subscribe now, because this channel is dedicated to sharing real stories, real emotions, and real lessons that will help you grow, not just in this life, but forevermore.